She's just become a parody. I just find her so hilarious. Like, if you sat down to write the character of a woman who'd thrown the royal family under the bus, accused them of racism, you've taken the title but you don't want any of the responsibility, and you swan off to California and make rainbow fruit platters. I mean, she's just a joke.
People should expect the real me in this, and probably the me that they've never gotten to know.
Royal drama crashed right into Hollywood when Meghan Markle found herself loudly booed and even scolded after showing up uninvited at the HBO Max Emmy nominee celebration. What was meant to be a glamorous night of star power turned into a humiliation for the Duchess, as witnesses say her entrance caused an immediate shift in the room. Shock, whispers, and then the sound nobody wants to hear at a high-profile event: boos. Honestly, for someone banking on a Hollywood comeback, this was brutal. Stay tuned, because the tea only gets hotter from here, and you won't believe the twists coming next. Make sure to watch until the end so you don't miss a single detail of this Hollywood drama.
साहिबा आए घर काहे ना ऐसे तो सद
Small grassroots organizations where you can see a higher level of impact, in my opinion, because there's a lot less red tape.
Now, the technique that Kate Middleton uses, it's so simple but hard to execute. Very simply, she does not react. She keeps her...
In today's video, we're spilling all the details about what really went down at the Emmy event, why Meghan's bold entrance sparked outrage, and how this latest embarrassment only adds fuel to the growing backlash she's been facing from both Hollywood insiders and royal watchers. And let me just say, it was not the power move she thought it would be. You see, Meghan went in expecting headlines, but what she got was humiliation instead. Crashing the Emmy party backfired immediately, and those boos weren't just noise. They were Hollywood sending a message about what they really think of her. One insider even remarked that people there would have done everything possible to keep her from entering, and that her so-called friends, the ones she once used for connections, have all been cutting ties. That's already telling enough.
Well, Spotify exec Bill Simmons, who also has his own podcast, apparently got to know Harry and Meghan a little bit during their time at the streaming service.
The grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them.
Whew. His diss comes after Spotify and Archwell Audio announced that they are mutually ending their partnership after 2.5 years. The expectation was Harry and Meghan were going to deliver multiple podcasts, but yeah, in 2.5 years, they only delivered Archetypes, the program that Meghan hosts, which did quite well, hitting #1 in 7 countries and winning the People's Choice Award last year for Favorite Pop Podcast. They also produced a one-off Christmas special in 2020, but that's it.
For Meghan, the Emmy celebration was supposed to be another carefully staged moment, a reminder to Hollywood that she still belonged with its brightest stars. But the reality was very different. She already had falling outs with names like Katy Perry, and this event made it crystal clear that bridges have been burned. The HBO Max nominee party was one of the hottest tickets of the season, with only the most relevant names in film and TV in attendance. And yet, the second Meghan walked into that glittering ballroom, the energy collapsed. Instead of warm applause or even a polite nod, all she got were groans and murmurs. People noticed her, yes, but definitely not in the way she had planned.
This event they were at in New York for the Time 100, there's a really interesting video doing the rounds on social media which shows their car pulling up to the event venue, and Meghan is on the side nearest to the photographers, who I presume are kind of, paparazzi or news photographers and videographers, and Harry's on the far side of the car, and he comes round and kind of tries to chivalrously put his hand on his arm, and she kind of literally swerves him and goes to very obviously greet the person that they're meeting with a big bear hug. And just honestly, the word spare part, came to my mind. It
Rebecca!
Like...
At one of the central tables, filled with Emmy-nominated producers and writers, someone reportedly muttered loud enough for others to hear, "Oh no, not her." That single comment cracked the tension wide open, spreading across the ballroom like wildfire. Heads turned, conversations froze, and then the booing started. Imagine being in that moment, trying to step into the spotlight only to hear the crowd turning against you. That's the kind of scene that sticks. And to make matters worse, insiders didn't hold back. One person claimed she wouldn't even dare try something like that around Oprah because even those connections aren't what they used to be. Where Meghan once bathed in royal fanfare and red carpet flashes, she was now being booed right in her face. That was the moment the illusion shattered. The Meghan Markle who thought she could command Hollywood with a smile and a pose suddenly became the unwanted guest.
Right, this is two people who trashed all their family. You know, whether it was her father or whether it was Harry's entire family at a time when Prince Philip and the Queen were both dying. There they were on national television, from Oprah Winfrey to Netflix to whoever, you know, as the Spotify guy put it.
Another observer summed it up harshly, saying that this moment only confirmed what many had been whispering for years, that Harry and Meghan's big return to Hollywood was over, even before it started. And honestly, watching this all play out, it feels like Hollywood has made up its mind.
People should expect the real me in this, and probably the me that they've never gotten to know.
Well, Spotify exec Bill Simmons, who also has his own podcast, apparently got to know Harry and Meghan a little bit during their time at the streaming service.
The grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them.
Whew. His diss comes after Spotify and Archwell Audio announced that they are mutually ending their partnership after 2.5 years. The expectation was Harry and Meghan were going to deliver multiple podcasts. But yeah, in 2.5 years, they only delivered Archetypes, the program that Meghan hosts, which did quite well, hitting #1 in 7 countries and winning the People's Choice Award last year for Favorite Pop Podcast. They also produced a one-off Christmas special in 2020, but that's it. So yeah, not a lot to show for a payday that was rumored to be about $20 million. Bill claims he even tried to help Harry brainstorm some potential podcasts.
I got to get drunk one night and tell the story of the Zoom I had with Harry to try to help him with a podcast idea. Do it. It's one of my best stories.
Now, Bill has never been a fan of Harry.
Shoot this guy to the sun. I'm so tired of this guy.
Bill bashed Harry in a podcast in January when Harry was working for Spotify.
Who cares about your life?
If Meghan really thought she was going to walk into that room and find allies, she couldn't have been more wrong. This wasn't just any crowd. It was Hollywood's elite. The actors, the directors, the producers, the people who decide who gets invited to the next big project. And trust me, they weren't lining up to lend her credibility. Quite the opposite. The second she moved further into that ballroom, it was like an invisible curtain dropped. She wasn't welcomed, she was shut out. One source put it bluntly, saying Meghan's basically a cross-out in Hollywood now. The so-called grade A crowd has decided she's done, and honestly, you could feel that energy in the room. Witnesses even say Zendaya, who had been laughing with a group of stylists, suddenly spotted Meghan from across the way. And in a move almost too perfect to be coincidence, Zendaya turned immediately, pulled her assistant into a deep conversation, and completely cut Meghan out of the moment. Smooth, but savage. And it didn't stop there. Pedro Pascal, one of the most in-demand stars of the night, apparently excused himself right in the middle of laughing with his group when Meghan got too close. He slipped straight toward the bar like he couldn't risk even being photographed near her. And even the stylists and journalists, the people usually begging for a quote or a quick snap, were looking away on purpose, as if avoiding eye contact would save them from being dragged into her orbit. That kind of rejection, that stings. One source recalled a half-finished comment that said it all. Someone's father, a Paramount executive, wouldn't even entertain the idea of dealing with Meghan. That's how far she's fallen. Another insider whispered later that it wasn't random, it was strategic. No one wanted a photo with her. No one wanted their name tied to hers. In Hollywood, association is everything. It's like currency, and Meghan's stock has tanked hard. And let's be real, this wasn't Meghan Markle, the starlet of Suits. It wasn't Meghan, the Duchess and the tiara. This was Meghan, the unwanted guest. And Hollywood made sure she felt it. Her presence was treated like a liability, not an asset. Even her closest ties aren't what they used to be. Her relationships with Oprah and Gayle King, once her strongest allies, don't have the same shine anymore. And that's telling.
They were willing to lie to protect other members of the family, but they weren't willing to tell the truth to protect me and my husband.
You know, it's been reported that Harry and Meghan have received an invitation to the coronation. Do you think they should go? Do you think they should not go? Is it something you'd like to comment on? I'm listening.
I think they should do what they feel is best for them and for their family. That's what I think. That's what the bottom line, it comes down to, what do you feel like is the right thing for you?
Okay.
Yeah, they haven't asked me.
They haven't
my
asked
opinion.
You?
No, they have not.
Here's the kicker. Her appearance at the Emmy celebration wasn't some random drop-in. Insiders insist her team planned it down to the minute. They knew where the event was, what time the stars would arrive, and exactly how much buzz the room would generate. It was a calculated gamble. But instead of being her big power move, it blew up in her face. One critic didn't mince words either, pointing out that even her Netflix projects aren't working out. In their words, Meghan and Harry aren't skilled, but they think they can do everything. And that kind of brutal commentary, that's what makes the whole story sting even more. To Meghan, this must have looked like the perfect chance. She probably thought, walk in, dazzle the cameras, reclaim the spotlight. But here's the thing. The plan had one huge flaw. She had nothing to celebrate, nothing to contribute, and not even an invitation to justify why she was there. That alone already set her up for failure.
Let's do Prince Harry on his divorce rumors in SOT 16.
I Googled News You, and there were people who are fascinated by everything you're doing all the time. They're fascinated by Meghan is in California right now, and you're here, and there's articles left and right about, why are you doing independent events? Why aren't you doing them together?
Because you invited me, you should have known.
This is true.
You should have known that was going to happen.
But do you know, is that normal for you? That the second there's an article that says she's in California, you're in New York, they say, well, what is happening with these two, right? So is that a good thing for you in a way that there's so much interest in you?
No, there's definitely not a good thing. Because apparently we've bought or moved house maybe 10, 12 times. We've apparently divorced maybe 10, 12 times as well. So it's just like, what? So yeah, it's hard to keep up with, but that's why you just sort of ignore it. The people I feel most sorry about are the trolls who their hopes are just built and built and built, and it's like yes, and then it doesn't happen. Right. So I feel sorry for them. Genuinely, I do.
Okay. It's not a good thing. All the attention on him and Meghan. They don't like it, Maureen.
I know, because how can one monetize oneself without attention?
Right. How do you get the $100 million deal from Netflix?
How does Tyler Perry know where to send his private jet to come get you?
One producer was overheard whispering that Meghan really thought she could just crash an Emmy party. But this wasn't some casual red carpet photo op. It was about the actual work. That's where the problem was. Everyone else in that room had projects, awards, scripts, and years of artistry to celebrate, while Meghan's appearance screamed one word: desperation. And honestly, Hollywood can smell desperation from a mile away. The whole night was designed to honor decades of scripts, directing, acting, and creative excellence. Meanwhile, Meghan's resume at this point included a failed Spotify deal, a podcast rebrand that wasn't gaining traction, and a lifestyle brand so vague even her most loyal fans couldn't explain what it really offered.
They want big stuff. They will want a podcast. They won't just want Harry and Meghan, whittering about their chickens or something. They will want big name guests, the Obamas on, discussing big things, really sort of showpiece for Spotify.
So in a room full of people who had actually earned their spotlight, her presence didn't just feel unnecessary, it felt hollow, maybe even insulting.
You weren't even like the favorite son.
That's
I can't
enough,
stand him. So tired. I'm so embarrassed that I have to share Spotify with him. The guy sucks.
Well, you don't have to anymore, Bill. You can rest easy now. And in terms of the deal, that's not much product to deliver in 2.5 years. It's basically 13 episodes they produced in, just over 2 years. I do 13 segments before Friday. But what do you think of Harry and Meghan's deal with Spotify ending and Bill calling them
the grifters?
And the whispers made it worse. One commentator pointed out how Meghan once invited Oprah to her wedding even though Oprah barely knew her at the time. She poured out her anxieties about being mistreated, hoping Oprah's presence would give her credibility. But here at the Emmys, that same strategy didn't work. Instead of sparking curiosity, Meghan just confirmed the whispers already swirling around her. She wasn't a serious Hollywood player. She looked more like a hanger-on, desperate to claw back some relevance. What she thought would be her triumphant re-entry ended up becoming the night's biggest flop. In the end, the only headline she walked away with was the one she dreaded most. Meghan Markle wasn't wanted. And it wasn't just the boos or the cold stares. Her uninvited entrance actually threw the entire event into quiet chaos. Remember, organizers had spent months meticulously planning every detail, where people would sit, the flow of photos, even down to security protocols. The last thing they expected was a royal-turned celebrity barging in without clearance. The moment Meghan showed up, all that precision unraveled. Eyewitnesses described the scene perfectly. Security guards were huddled near the entrance, frantically double and triple checking their digital guest lists. One coordinator was heard muttering into his headset that Meghan wasn't on the list, and they needed to triple check it. Imagine the tension in that moment. Do they risk dragging her out in front of Hollywood's biggest stars and creating an even bigger scandal? Or do they let her stay and quietly deal with the fallout? Either way, it was a no-win situation, and once again, Meghan was right at the center of all the drama. After a few hushed back and forths, organizers finally made their call. Avoid a messy scene, but make sure Meghan didn't get the spotlight she came for. So instead of walking her out and risking headlines, they quietly clipped her wings. Meghan was escorted to a seat near the exit corridor, way off from the stage and even further from the spotlight. While nominees raised champagne glasses in celebration, Meghan was discreetly handed a glass of water. No red carpet treatment, no cameras flashing, no interviews. She was technically in the room, but stripped of every single privilege that made the night sparkle. One insider didn't sugarcoat it, saying the move was very intentional. They wanted her presence minimized. She wasn't seen as a guest, they saw her as a problem. And honestly, that probably stung worse than being kicked out altogether. Because in Meghan's world, being ignored, sidelined, and made irrelevant is the worst punishment of all. Imagine walking into the room thinking you're about to own it, only to end up tucked away in the shadows. Brutal. Another source summed it up in one word: mortifying.
She's just become a parody. I just find her so hilarious. Like, if you sat down to write the character of a woman who'd thrown the royal family under the bus, accused them of racism, you've taken the title but you don't want any of the responsibility, and you swan off to California and make rainbow fruit platters. I mean, she's just a joke.
What made it all sting even more was how united Hollywood was in shutting her out. This is a town built on facades, where stars smile through gritted teeth, shake hands they don't mean, and trade compliments like currency. Even when celebrities secretly hate each other, they usually keep it cute for the cameras. But that night, it was different. Nobody played along. Meghan didn't just deal with a few awkward glances, she faced an entire room that silently agreed. We're not doing this. No fake friendliness, no polite applause, no forced smiles. Just whispers, rolled eyes, and cold stares sharp enough to cut. It felt like the whole room made an unspoken pact to starve her of what she wanted most: attention. One attendee even revealed that nobody was willing to give her oxygen. No validation, no acknowledgement, nothing.
Is annoyed because this guy in an interview had to be reminded who she was, what show she's on, and she gets pissed and makes this face. I just talked about this one in another video, but this is the Larry King interview where she gets mad when the attention's not on her. Larry dared ask her co-star there a question and not her, and she got upset and clenched her jaw. Just watch her face when the attention isn't fully on her. It drops. She gets mad. She doesn't like it when somebody else is talking. Here's another interview. If they don't ask exactly what she wants, or she doesn't feel like she's recognized enough, she makes faces like this where she gets mad. And then here you go, pretending to be nice and pleasant, I guess. And then, see, stuff like this happens. She can't hide it. Even in the engagement interview, if Harry talked too much, she'd get kind of mad and clench her jaw like.
Another observer explained it perfectly, saying you'd usually expect someone to get at least a smile, a laugh, or a quick hello. But Meghan wasn't even given that courtesy. Even the boos that rang out earlier in the night fizzled into something far deadlier: silence. People turned back to their conversations, but very deliberately without including her. Bodies angled away from her table. Photographers pointed their lenses anywhere but in her direction. Nominees clinked their glasses as though she didn't even exist. And honestly, for someone who had once built her entire career on being seen, that had to hurt the most. Hollywood didn't need press statements or carefully worded interviews to make its point. The rejection was loud without anyone actually saying a word. In that glittering ballroom, Meghan Markle learned the harshest truth. Her star power wasn't just fading, it had already burned out. If things had gone her way, the next morning would have been filled with glossy headlines and glamorous photos. She probably pictured paparazzi shots, splashed everywhere, her name trending, maybe even critics silenced by her so-called comeback. But instead of praise, Meghan got Hollywood's cruelest punishment, total erasure. And let's be real, sometimes silence speaks louder than boos. Event organizers and HBO Max producers wasted no time making sure she didn't leave with a win. Meghan's name never showed up in official press releases or event recaps. Even the star-studded photo galleries sent out by Getty, Shutterstock, and other agencies cut her out completely. Background shots where she was visible, cropped, or shelved. It was as if they'd hit delete on her existence that night. Her team, of course, tried damage control the next morning. They pushed their own photos, strategically lit, edited to make it look like she belonged. But the agencies weren't buying it. One publicist admitted nobody wanted to run Meghan's photos from an event she wasn't even invited to, because doing so would look like an endorsement. Ouch. This is where it gets painful. Meghan has built her post-royal career on optics. Curated Netflix documentaries, hand-picked interviews, carefully staged moments designed to make her shine. But this time she couldn't spin it. Hollywood made sure she wasn't just booed in the moment, she was erased from the story. Treated as if she was never there at all. And for someone who craves attention and relevance, invisibility has to be the cruelest humiliation.
To be honest with you, Kerry, I actually thought we were just going on date night, so I found it quite weird that we're sharing the room with 1,500 people. But I mean, we don't get out much because our kids are so small and young, so this is completely unexpected. But it's nice to share date night with all of you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for bringing me on this very special date night.
You're welcome.
Fading influence were already circling before this night. The failed Spotify deal was a public embarrassment. Her podcast rebrand under Lemonada Media still isn't gaining traction. And that lifestyle brand she teased? Still vague, still confusing, and still failing to create the cultural splash she dreamed of. By the time she walked into that Emmy event, everyone could see it. Meghan desperately needed a win. She thought the Emmys would give her one. Instead, they may have buried her chances even deeper.
Speaking of martyrs and people who have been really unfairly put upon, let me ask you about Meghan Markle.
One of the great martyrs of our time.
Poor thing. Her castle was so small. She is apparently getting back into the podcast lane thanks to this far-left pro-women Lemonada company. Richard Eden over in the Daily Mail, your old hot, has a piece today saying they're struggling to get this thing out of the starting blocks. No podcasts are even expected anytime this year, and not until 2025. And the podcast, by the way, is going to celebrate the joys of cooking, or at least something she's doing. Her Netflix show, I guess, is going to celebrate the joys of cooking, gardening, entertaining, and friendship, Piers. She's going to be teaching us how to be a good friend.
But let's be honest, Meghan's surprise entrance wasn't about honoring television or artistry. It was about clawing her way back into the spotlight. She wanted relevance by proximity. One insider even explained that if she couldn't earn her seat through hard work, she'd try to create one by simply showing up. But Hollywood's A-list, they weren't fooled for a second. Her calculated smile, the practiced posture, and even that dramatic black gown. It all screamed of someone desperate to force their way into a narrative that had already moved on without them. The truth is, Meghan Markle has always thrived when she's in total control. From the polished Netflix docuseries to the carefully staged Oprah interview, every move was curated, edited, and wrapped in perfection. But the Emmy nominee celebration wasn't her production. It was Hollywood's. And in that space, she had no script to rely on, no protective PR team at her side, and definitely no editing room to cut out the awkward moments. This time it was raw, real, and unfiltered, and it didn't go her way.
I can't wait to find out from Meghan Markle what that's like.
Well, as one of the many friends that she cut off spectacularly the moment she got a bit of royal action, along with her entire family, of course, on both sides, apart from her mother. I don't think Meghan Markle's in any position to be lecturing anybody about friendship. I mean, it always made me laugh that the Archewell website, their charitable foundation, says it's dedicated to compassion. I mean, it's hard to imagine two people who've been less compassionate in the last few years to the ones around their loved ones than these two, right? This is two people who trashed all their family.
The fallout from this stunt has already been labeled by insiders as one of the worst PR disasters of her post-royal career. And let's face it, in an industry where reputation is everything, moments like this don't just sting, they stick. The Emmy humiliation wasn't just one bad night. It marked a turning point. Meghan tried to crash the party, but instead of reclaiming her crown, all she walked away with was embarrassment. If this was supposed to be her big Hollywood comeback, it flopped harder than anyone expected. And honestly, Hollywood made it clear her seat at the table is gone. So what do you think? Was Meghan simply misunderstood? Or did Hollywood finally show its true feelings about her? Is this the beginning of her full fall from grace? Or does she still have a shot at a comeback? One thing's for sure, the Emmy humiliation won't be forgotten anytime soon. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get the conversation going. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Not So Royal Anymore tea.